Hi, welcome to Solo Backpacking Tips, How to Backpack Alone. My name is Maddie, and I have completed the Superior Hiking Trail in Minnesota by myself, and I've also done overnights in Red River Gorge, Kentucky, the Grand Canyon, Guadalupe Mountains National Park. So I have done this a few times, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It can be super intimidating, but I think going alone makes backpacking even better. One of what I think is the best things about going backpacking is how capable you feel at the end. And if you go alone, that feeling multiplies. First, let's talk practical safety tips. They do sell devices where it's a GPS locator, you wear it on your backpack and someone off trail can see where you are. Or if you have an iPhone, you can do share my location with a friend that's off the trail, and that way someone can see where you are in real time. Another thing I would do is when you're researching the trail, type in what most backpackers do wrong on blah 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 trail. What animals could you encounter and what to do if you do come across one, what natural hazards there are, and basically the more you know about the trail, the safer you'll feel. 3 things to do before any outdoor excursion. Plan your hike and hike your plan, meaning that you get things mapped out and then stick to them. Don't make any last minute changes. Make sure you check the weather before you go, and make sure you tell someone where you're going and when to expect you back, and then follow up with them once you get back. That kind of goes hand in hand with the person monitoring your location if you choose to do that. If you're backpacking, you're probably really seriously considering what you're going to bring in your backpack and what you want to carry, but make sure you're keeping in mind the 10 essentials too, which is a list of 10 things that researchers put together that you could help you survive an emergency situation. The list of the 10 essentials does vary on what source you're getting it from. I got mine from rei.com. And this list is navigation, illumination, sun protection, first aid kit, knife, fire starter, extra shelter, extra food, extra water, and extra clothes. If you're going to bring something to protect yourself, maybe pepper spray, maybe bear spray, but you're also going to use it on a human if you need to, make sure you always know where that is and how to use it. And make sure you can access it easily. Sometimes when I'm bored, I like to practice whipping things out in case of emergency. Also, this is going to sound kind of out there at first, but do your worrying ahead of time. And what I mean by that is, while you're at home before the trip, think through any possibility that could happen while you're calm, while you're in a level-headed state of mind, and think through, okay, what am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if that happens? Make sure you have all the supplies that you need in that situation and that you have that plan down pat. Then when you get out there on the trip, if a scary thought or even something that could lead to a scary thought, like for example, sometimes I like true crime YouTube videos and stuff, but before I go backpacking, I don't listen to any of that stuff, because if I'm thinking of Ted Bundy, then I'm going to start thinking of murderers. Ted Bundy is long gone, but what if there's murderers in this woods? And anything that could lead to being scared, you just want to push out of your head. And yes, I know it is much easier said than done. It is really difficult, but I think it is possible. Also, distracting yourself is easier than not thinking about something. Like when I was hiking the Superior Hiking Trail, I had one day where I planned out my dream house, one day where I planned out my dream wedding, and just keeping yourself in the habit of thinking positive thoughts, especially when it gets dark and when you're in your tent. Those are key moments to stay focused on other things. What really, really helps me is to download podcasts and Netflix episodes, if you have enough battery for that is, and listen to that as I'm falling asleep, because a lot of times in the silence, like, you hear leaves crinkle and you're like, oh my gosh, what's out there? It's probably the wind, but you don't know that. I like having those things ready to go to help me fall asleep. Also, make sure you're easing yourself in. Like, make sure you've gone hiking by yourself. Maybe go camping in a campground beforehand. If you haven't done either of those two things, I actually have videos on those, so check them out. I mentioned before that I did the Superior Hiking Trail in Minnesota, and in fact why I chose that was because I found it on a list of best thru hikes if you're going solo. And I'm glad that I chose that. I definitely agree it is good if you're going solo because a lot of the trail you have service on, cell service. Also the fact that they had designated campsites instead of dispersed camping along the trail where you would just kind of find a clear space and let's make this the campsite for tonight. You have to stay in these marked campsites, and I think that was really good because it kind of made a sense of community among the trail. I met a lot of other hikers, and that was one less thing I had to think about, was finding a campsite that had access to water, that was level and all that. It was kind of, that part of the planning was done for me. Also, at least the resupplies that I did, I never had to hitchhike anywhere, so that is definitely good to take into consideration. I know some trails you have to hitchhike into town to resupply, and, not a great thing to do alone. The last reason I recommend the SHT for solo hikers is because the scariest animal on that trail are moose. They are dangerous because they're very territorial, but it is pretty rare to see one. I felt special just for seeing a hoof print. So that did give me some peace of mind not being in the same habitat as mountain lions or grizzly bears. Just one less thing to worry about. Also, think about your why. Why are you going backpacking alone? Lots of people are probably going to ask you that, so you might as well get your answer ready now. And use it as personal motivation too. When the going gets tough, think back to the reason why you started in the first place. Yes, it might be weird being alone, but you have a reason for that. Why I got started is I actually did the Tahoe Rim Trail with a hiking buddy that I knew a long time, and because we had that history, I think they were just more likely to take out their frustration on me. I struggle with my own mental health sometimes, and that was really not what I needed to be around. I'm sure that I wasn't the perfect hiking partner either, but that was really the final straw for me. I would rather go hiking by myself and deal with a little more nervousness than go hiking with someone that's not going to be what I need in a hiking buddy and have the experience negatively impacted because of that. Also, get excited as you can. This is going to be hard, yes, but it's probably going to be a huge memory for the rest of your life. An experience you'll feel so proud of yourself for. I'm already proud of ya. What I would do if I was you is to watch videos of other people hiking alone, because you can put yourself in their shoes and see like, oh, if I was in that position, I would do that. Oh, this is a situation I need to take into account. And just know that you're not alone. Everyone that goes backpacking by themselves had to have had a first time. They've had to have started somewhere. The first time I went was in the Red River Gorge in Kentucky. It was such a cool trip, but there's definitely so much I could have done better. You should watch it yourself. Here it is.